salute the courage of those Tibetans still enduring fear and oppression. Whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, it is the responsibility of all Tibetans to maintain equality, harmony, and unity among the various nationalities while continuing to protect our unique identity and culture. Many Tibetans in Tibetan areas are working in various responsible posts in the party, government, and military, helping Tibetans in whatever way they can. We recognize the positive contribution that many of them have made up to now, and obviously when Tibet achieves meaningful autonomy in the future, they'll have to continue to fulfill such responsibility. Let me reiterate that once the issue of Tibet is resolved, I will not take any political position, nor will members of the Tibetan administration in exile hold any positions in the government in Tibet. I have repeatedly made this clear in the past. To understand the situation of the Tibetans in exile and their aspirations, I invite Tibetan officials serving in various Tibetan autonomous areas to visit Tibetan communities living in the free world, either officially or in a private capacity, to observe the situation for themselves. Wherever Tibetans in exile have settled, we've been able to preserve and promote our distinct cultural and spiritual traditions while generating awareness of the Tibetan cause. Unlike other refugees, we have been relatively successful because we have also been able to give our children a sound, modern education while bringing them up according to our traditional values. And because the heads of all four major schools of Tibetan Buddhism and the Bon religion are in exile, we have been able to re-establish various institutions for religious training and practice. In these institutions, over 10,000 monks and nuns are free to pursue their vocations. We have been readily available to provide educational opportunities for those monks, nuns, and students who continue to come from Tibet. At the same time, the unprecedented spread of Tibetan Buddhism to both East and West, and the prospect of continuing to flourish in the future gives us hope that it may yet survive. This is some solace to us during the most critical period in Tibet's history. Today, the Chinese authorities are conducting various political campaigns, including a campaign of patriotic re-education in many monasteries in Tibet. They're putting the monks and nuns in prison-like conditions, depriving them the opportunity to study and practice in peace. These conditions make the monasteries function more like museums and are intended to deliberately annihilate Buddhism. Tibetan culture based on Buddhist values of compassion and nonviolence benefits not only Tibetans, but also people in the world at large, including the Chinese. Therefore, we Tibetans should not place our hopes in material progress alone, which is why it is essential that all Tibetans, both inside and outside Tibet, should broaden their modern education hand in hand with our traditional values. Above all, as many young Tibetans as possible should strive to become experts and skilled professionals. It is important that Tibetans maintain friendly relations not only with people of all nationalities, but also among themselves. Tibetans should not engage in petty disputes with each other. I earnestly appeal to them instead to resolve any differences with patience and understanding. Whether the Chinese government acknowledges it or not, there is a serious problem in Tibet. As the world knows, this is evidenced by the fact that there is a huge military presence and restrictions on travel in Tibet. It is good for neither party. We have to take every opportunity to solve it. For more than 30 years, I've tried my best to enter into talks with the People's Republic of China to resolve the issue of Tibet through the middle way approach that is of benefit to us both. Although I have articulated Tibetan aspirations which are in accordance with the Constitution of the People's Republic of China and the law or national regional autonomy, we have not obtained any concrete results. Judging by the attitudes of the present Chinese leadership, there is little hope that the result will be achieved soon. Nevertheless, our stance to continue with the dialogue remains unchanged. It is a matter of pride and satisfaction that our mutually beneficial middle way approach to the justice of the Tibetan struggle have gained growing understanding and support year by year from many political and spiritual leaders, including the President of the United States, reputed non-governmental organizations, the international community, and in particular from Chinese intellectuals. It is evident that the Tibetan issue is not a dispute between the Chinese and the Tibetan people, but has come about because of the ultra-leftist policies of the Chinese Communist authorities. Since the demonstrations in Tibet in 2008, Chinese intellectuals inside and outside China have written more than 800 unbiased articles on Tibetan issues. During my visits abroad, wherever I go, when I meet Chinese in general, particularly the intellectuals and students, they offer their genuine sympathy and support. Since the Sino-Tibetan problem ultimately has to be resolved by the two peoples themselves, I try to reach out to the Chinese people whenever I can to create a mutual understanding between us. Therefore, it is important for Tibetans everywhere to build closer relations with the Chinese people and try to make them aware of the truth of the Tibetan cause and the present situation in Tibet. Let us also remember the people of East Turkestan who have experienced great difficulty and increased oppression, and Chinese intellectuals campaigning for greater freedom who have received severe sentences. I'd like to express my solidarity and stand firmly with them. It is also essential that 1.3 billion Chinese have free access to information about their country and elsewhere, as well as freedom of expression and the rule of law. If there were greater transparency inside China, there would be greater trust, which would be proper basis for promoting harmony, stability, and progress. This is why everyone concerned must exert their efforts in this direction. As a free spokesperson of the Tibetan people, I have repeatedly spelled out their fundamental aspirations to the leaders of the People's Republic of China. A lack of a positive response is disappointing. Although the present authorities may cling to their hardline stance, judging by the political changes taking place on the international stage as well as changes in the perspective of the Chinese people, there will be a time when truth will prevail. Therefore, it is important that everyone be patient and not give up. We acknowledge the central government's new decision taken at the 5th Tibet World Forum to implement their policies uniformly in all Tibetan areas to ensure future progress and development, which Premier Wen Jiabao also reiterated at the recent annual session of the National People's Congress. This accords with our repeatedly expressed wish for a single administration for all those Tibetan areas. Similarly, we appreciate the development work that has taken place in Tibetan areas, particularly in the nomadic and farming regions. However, we must be vigilant that such progress does not damage our precious culture and language and the natural environment of the Tibetan plateau, which is linked to the well-being of the whole of Asia. On this occasion, I wish to take the opportunity to offer my sincere thanks to the leaders of various nations, the intellectuals, the general public, Tibet support groups, and others who cherish truth and justice for continuing to support the Tibetan cause despite the Chinese government's pressure and harassment. Above all, I wish to pay my heartfelt gratitude to the government of India, the various state governments, and the people of India for their continued generous support. Finally, I offer prayers for the happiness and well-being of all sentient beings, the Dalai Lama, March 10, 2010. Thank you.